So what I really recommend for people to do is try their best to have a consistent schedule. I know it can be hard. Life throws us curveballs we can't always control, but our bodies really thrive on that consistency. So where that really seems to play out most is on the bookends of our day. So in the morning, having a really consistent morning routine. And then in the evening, having that wind down routine that you can always lean in on to kind of decelerate your body and brain at night. So yes, the consistency is extremely important. And speaking of consistency, we really want to look at the consistency of our sleep schedule itself. They did a study recently of thousands of people that showed that the more consistent people were with their sleep and wake times, the lower their mortality risk was. So this is somewhat new data that I think is hopefully going to be incorporated into more public policy, public health messaging about sleep, because so often we hear this, you have to get 8 hours of sleep, right? It's more about the quantity of hours we're getting. And while yes, that's important that we sort of aim for that 7 to 9 hours per the National Sleep Foundation recommendations. But the other side of it is that what I just mentioned, that consistency. So in that particular study, they showed that people who were getting consistent 6 hours of sleep were actually faring better than people who were getting sort of spotty and consistent 8 hours of sleep with many interruptions. So there's that consistency piece really, really coming to light. And I hope the conversation gets even more in depth about it in the future. So what we know about diet and sleep, first thing I'll say is I think it's really important that we focus in on blood sugar balance, because that's often a missing piece. So when you're talking about blood sugar balance, that really starts in the morning with your first meal. So to kind of kickstart that blood sugar balance, I would recommend somebody have a breakfast shortly after waking up that is very protein rich. You don't want to have like Pop-Tarts, for example, or waffles or pancakes, because those are just pure carbs. And what that does is it creates this blood sugar spike and a crash. And that sort of roller coaster with your blood sugar can continue through the day and into the night, which can affect your sleep. So quite often I'll work with clients who have 2 and 3 a.m. awakenings. And there are many reasons for that. But one of the reasons is because of blood sugar crashes, because of that cortisol and adrenaline release that happens when the blood sugar tanks. So keeping that consistent blood sugar balance all day is, I think, first and foremost, the most critical thing we need to look at. And then as far as like different diets themselves, what studies have shown is that diets that are low in saturated fat and high in fiber tend to be more sleep promoting. And interestingly, they've done some studies looking at longitudinal correlations with the Mediterranean diet and good sleep. So if you like Greek food, you're in luck. And, I think the reason why that's correlating with good sleep is because the Mediterranean diet is typically high in fiber with a lot of vegetables, healthy fats. Um, so, and then we want to look at timing too of our food intake. We really want to make sure that we have our last bite of food about 3 hours before bed. So if your bedtime is 10 o'clock, I would say it's a good idea to kind of shut down your kitchen, stop eating your dinner around 7, because your body really needs that time to digest. Because if you get into bed with too much food in your system, your body is going to really prioritize the digestion over the processes to encourage sleep. Now, there is a little caveat there with what I just said. So like I mentioned before, some people have low blood sugar and they have that dip in the 2 and 3 a.m., which wakes them up. So some people can actually benefit from having a very small snack about an hour before bed. And that could look like, some Greek yogurt with some almonds, something that has some protein and some fat to kind of keep the blood sugar stable through the night. So it's one of those things you kind of have to assess for yourself and maybe test out trying different things a little bit before bed if you do have wake ups.
Yeah, I also found that nut butter also helps me.
Yes, definitely. That's a great one. A lot of people find like that spoonful of nut butter can help carry them through the night.
So, what role does alcohol have on the body?
Yeah, that's an interesting one because alcohol is actually the most commonly used sleep aid in the world. Because it's a sedative, it relaxes us and it actually can help us get to sleep a little more quickly. But the downside is that it often contributes to fragmented sleep, disrupted sleep. So, what we see in a graph of someone's sleep, if they were put in a lab, would be they might get some more deep sleep in the beginning of the night. And then their REM sleep is kind of shortened a little bit in the first part of the night, and you will see quite a bit of wake ups towards the last part of the night. So, it's not to say that alcohol should just be, completely abolished from your life if that's what you enjoy. But I think what we really want to talk about is changing the patterns of alcohol and changing the quantity. So, like, they did some studies looking at the quantity of alcohol and how that impacted. And for a woman who has maybe one drink or more, that takes her sleep quality down by like 38%. So that's a lot of sleep quality to leave on the table. And if you add more drinks on top of that, the quality diminishes even more. So if you do want to enjoy a drink, what I would suggest is thinking more about a happy hour versus a nightcap. So have a glass of wine at 5 instead of having maybe 2 glasses of wine with your dinner at 8. You will definitely notice some differences. And I mean, I wear an Oura ring. A lot of people I know do, and we all consistently say, "Oh my gosh, when the alcohol is there, our scores really tank."
Hey guys, I would like to take a moment to introduce you to our app, Yoga Plus. You will have access to an incredible selection of videos led by top instructors in yoga, fitness, nutrition, and so much more. Download our Yoga Plus app available on iOS and Android today.